All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Dimensions podcast. As always, I am your host, Smitty, back with another one, man, and I am joined by the GOAT, the man himself.
After you.
GOAT, man, Andy St. Fleur. So, for those of you who don't know Andy St. Fleur had this earth-shattering 40 time. Got an NFL tryout and is now transitioning into skeleton racing. And you know, I've seen your story. We was talking earlier.
Right.
I've seen your story because, like, you're from Connecticut. You're from the area. So, Connecticut, we got to support each other.
Of course.
So, I see it, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. Like it, and then I move forward.
Of course.
And we was talking about how you had seen some of my stuff, and, like, you see it, and then we move forward. But just how we met by chance was even doper.
For sure.
Yeah. So, we both know Lucas.
We do.
And then we both happen to know a ton of the other same people. Gogo being one of them. Shout out to Gogo, man. Alumni of the show.
For sure.
And things just kicked off organically, and we started talking about everything from skeleton racing to 40 times to injuries. Mm-hmm. So as we got deeper into the conversation, the theme was like, there's a calling on your life. So let's start from the beginning, right? So you're at Western New England.
Yep. Football's
your journey. And then where does it go from there after you graduate?
Gotcha. Yeah. My time at Western New England, it was a challenge, actually. So I came in freshman, didn't get to play varsity. So I was just running scout team all year. It wasn't until sophomore, junior, senior year where I actually got to play on Saturdays in front of everybody. So a lot of growth had to happen for me to do that. And it wasn't until, my senior year where actually, as a receiver, that was the position I played, where everything came together, the route running, the catching, the separation. And then after that, I kind of had this revelation, and kind of like how you said, it was just like this calling on my life.
Yeah.
Where I just had to go play professionally. So once I graduated, stuff kind of aligned itself for me to do that. It all started off with first playing semi-pro.
Semi-pro do it to you.
It was really well.
Semi-pro is a different kind of grind.
Definitely, man. So did that for a couple of years, grabbed some tape off that. And then, I met my first agent in the second year. So she was able to get me into some tryouts for some leagues that kind of folded and never came back. Mm-hmm. And I also had a Browns and Redskins tryout before they changed their name too. So it took a while for all that to really start to pop off. You know what I mean? So
at this point in your life, you're getting these tryouts, you're getting these different things. Is your mindset like, yo, I'm gonna make it? Like, this has to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is what's happening.
Absolutely, man. My mind's already made up. There's no, quote unquote plan B.
No turning back.
There's no turning back. And like my biggest thing is just, not living back or fast forward 10 years from now and look back and say, what could have happened if I kept going. So
yeah, you don't
I'm
want to
trying
live
to
with
avoid
the regrets
that as much as possible for sure. So, and really, it really didn't hit me too until, I got in front of all these scouts for these professional CFL and NFL teams where, they've complimented me on my athleticism, my speed. So that's why, I kind of had that mentality like, yes, I do belong here. And yes, I deserve to be here.
So was that like a validating moment for you? Like, that's what did it for you? Like, yo, I deserve this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Man.
I love that, man. And then, so you're getting the attention, you're getting the tryouts, you have an agent, things are starting to move for you. And then you run this crazy 40. What was the 40 time exactly?
It was a 4.26.
4.26. Fast.
Godspeed, man.
Godspeed. So, of course, that translates to a lot of different sports, a lot of different levels of athleticism. Sure. And then, so you get this tryout, and then the injury occurs. So walk us through the injury and how that happened.
Yeah, I'll actually even take you back to the day of the tryout. So, I run the 40. They're impressed by it. I actually got the contract the same day. This was for arena team in Texas. I called Gogo right after, and he could tell you the story. Long story short, February, right before the pandemic, the team folds, and they say, they're not going to have a season. There's no money.
Yeah.
So I go back to training, wait for another opportunity. And it finally came a couple years later for a CFL team. And I'm running my 40 and I end up, tripping over myself, falling over on the 35-yard line. Yeah, right before.
Oh, you was right?
Yeah, I was
that's
right
tough.
there
That's
before
tough.
the end. Yeah, I was disappointed for sure. And I go to the hospital that same day, and I ended up tearing my femur, rupturing my quad, and dislocating my kneecap.
Yikes. Okay.
You're right. Definitely unfortunate.
That's tough because for some people, it's just like, it's one thing like, okay, yeah, I tore my ACL. But that's like, what, 3 different things all in one? That's things. Tough, man.
Yeah. My ortho is, showing me the x-rays and the MRI, and she even said it herself. It was like kind of like a special kind of injury. Like the way I fell with so much force, like she's never seen something like that before. Mm-hmm. So
was it one of those things where like the doctor's looking at you and you're like, yo, you may not be able to walk again, or like it may be career ending, or like it's something where there's still that hope there?
I mean, I kind of got the hope from them that it wasn't over for me. It's just gonna take a long, extensive recovery time, which was definitely hard. Especially my first 6 weeks, I couldn't really do much. I was in a cast, in a brace, just at home elevating. Couldn't go to the gym at all.
Yeah,
and, I'm somebody who works out 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. So
7.
Yeah,
a lot of people struggling with 2. You talking about 7?
I think they just gotta find the motivation, or even just find a partner. I think Gogo and I, we work out a lot too. So I
be seeing y'all, man, doing the man ups, trying to fly and all that. I be seeing them, for sure. Okay, for sure. So now you speak on motivation. What motivates you? So you're going through this injury. Things are falling into a weird place for you. What motivated you through that time to help you get through that?
Kind of like what I said before. I just firmly believe like this is my purpose. So that's kind of my motivation right there. Plus my parents are my motivation. There's so much I want to do for them. They've been so supportive of me. So that's kind of where that fire comes from. Yeah.
So that's dope that you mentioned you have supportive parents, because for a lot of us Black and brown people, especially if you got like a Caribbean background or African background, sure. Like when you tell your family I'm chasing sports, like this is what I want to do, a lot of them will look at you and be like, you sure you don't want to do something else?
That's exactly how it happens. So I'm of Haitian descent. My parents are from Haiti. Growing up in a Haitian household, I could tell you it's mainly about school and the profession you choose to pursue. Yeah. So if it's anything outside of that, they're kind of not interested in it.
It's like, what are you doing? You're wasting time.
Exactly. But once they actually saw, not only was I making progress, but how involved and serious I was, they backed me on it, and they were like, as long as you can support yourself, we're gonna support
That's
you.
The big thing, yeah. As long as you can, don't come to us asking for.
Don't go broke.
Trying to chase this. You better make it work if you're gonna do it.
Exactly.
That's dope, man.
So I've been blessed to do that. So
I love that. So transitioning from football, you have the injury. It's a long road back.
Yep.
And then you get this call about skeleton racing.
Yep.
So for people who don't know what skeleton racing is, can you explain that to them real quick? Because I was like, skeleton, like the body, like so.
Right.
Yeah,
no, that's fair. So skeleton is defined as plummeting down an ice track on a carbon fiber sled head first, going speeds of like 80 plus miles an hour.
80 plus head first.
80 plus head first. There's no seatbelt on ice. No seatbelt. No brakes.
I was going to ask, how do you stop? So when the race is done, how do you stop?
So basically, when you get to the end of the track, momentum kind of slows you down. But they also throw out some foam pads, and you just slam into it, and it just stops you completely.
God forbid somebody forget that foam.
They make sure once they're doing their security checks. They're checking the cameras on the track to make sure it's clear to go. They're going to make sure that there's a foam there.
Okay, because I'm like, what?
Because they know how dangerous it is.
No brakes? Yeah, I'm all set. Yeah. I'm scared.
So it was definitely interesting transition. So kind of like you said, I got that call before I got hurt by my management team. They connected me with the U.S. Olympic team coach. And I went in August last year for bobsled camp, actually. Mm-hmm. So that's how it started for me. And then I learned quickly, because of my body type, bobsledders are more husky, around 220 pounds. I'm 180 pounds. So they knew my body type. I would be a skeleton athlete, which was fine because it came naturally to me. So stuck with it and ended up being pretty good at it.
Nice, man.
Yes, sir.
So what pieces of your game, because you know football is the love
For sure.
what pieces of your game directly translated to skeleton racing?
Yeah, the speed, because you got to run with the sled before you jump on it. So they target or recruit a lot of explosive athletes. A lot of football players, a lot of track athletes make the same transition for the same reason. And that's kind of like a lot. And then also staying calm.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
You got to be present.
Going that fast, you got to be in the moment, dog.
You know what I mean? Because otherwise, you mess up and you slam into the wall. And let me tell you, that wall.
You done slammed into the wall.
Yeah, it hurt. It definitely hurt.
Oh, man. So with skeleton, right? Because I just have so many questions about this. Because when you go to like high schools or colleges,
Right.
don't nobody got a skeleton team.
Not at all.
So let's say that's all you want to do with your life. How do you build yourself up to that? How do you get into that kind of thing?
Got you. So there's really no age limit or restriction on it. When I went to camp, we had some teenagers doing it as young as 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, still in high school. So, but the best way to get involved is to find one of the camps that they do. They do camps year round. It's kind of like a combine.
Okay.
So you do all these, the sprint, shot put, I believe, and a broad jump. And then, if they like you, then they call you up and they bring you back for more. But you start off too also on like what they call like this. It's like a rubber track, and it's like a little sled or a bobsled on like some wheels. So you don't go directly into the ice track yet.
Okay. Yeah. So you start on land first before you start
on land first.
Sliding at 80 miles an hour.
For
okay.
Sure. And even then, when you hop on the ice too, they start you, halfway up the track, and then you progress your way all the way up to the top. So,
okay,
so
that
they're
makes
not
sense.
just throwing you to the fire.
Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, any other sport, they got these youth camps, and you learn the fundamentals first. But I don't know too many fundamentals about sliding on some ice.
Not at all. And there's really not much to it, man. I mean, you steer with your knees and your shoulders, but like I said, the main thing is just staying calm, staying relaxed, and making sure you're in the moment.
Dope, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, with skeleton and everything, I was, prior to the interview, doing my research, doing my homework, and I come across the News 12 interview, right? So with that, they mentioned how you have the opportunity, and help me with the wording here, to be the first black male representative for Team USA in the skeleton?
That is correct.
Nice, man. Okay. So with that ability, with the chance to be able to do that, does that bring any extra pressure to what you're trying to build right now?
Honestly, no.
No?
It would be, I would be honored to do it, but it's not the only thing I'm thinking about. Plus, there's so much more that I have to learn before I even get to that point.
Yeah.
They say there's so many tracks around the world, so they say you got to visit each of those tracks at least 5 times before you even, go to the Olympics to really be considered an experienced skeleton slider. So I know the road is long, the journey is long, but if I could represent Team USA or even Haiti, I've seen other countries in this past Olympics join for the first time ever. It would be definitely a blessing for sure.
Dope. So as of this moment, you're not completely, like, it's not 100% you have to do it for Team USA.
No, not at all.
Okay, so you're still like a national free agent, so to speak. Okay.
For sure. So the way the Olympic Committee sees is they'd rather have as many countries as possible instead of just saturating with the same countries and having, the maximum number of sliders for those countries. So, that's why this past Olympics you saw Team Jamaica make a comeback.
Yeah, they made that comeback, man.
Team Brazil had a skeleton slider for the first time ever, so you're seeing all these countries get involved again. So whether it's for Haiti or Team USA, either way, I'll be ready to
Have
go.
you contacted Haiti at all?
Not
their coaches or anything?
No. So I think it's mainly more of paperwork kind of stuff.
Okay.
Just to show like, I have that blood in me.
Yeah, that's the representation.
Correct.
Okay. Dope, correct. Man. Dope. Yes. So, you say skeleton, as dope as it is, as much as you have that opportunity here, as great as that is, we was talking earlier, football is still like your number one.
Absolutely.
So what are your preparations you're going through now to get back to have that opportunity again at football?
Correct. So right now I'm currently in PT, rehabbing from my injury. I'm 8 weeks in. I have another 4 weeks to go. I just started jogging today, which is a good sign. My physical therapist says I'm ahead of progression, as he would say. But we're being smart about it. We're taking our time. We're not trying to rush back into anything. But it's hard, though, because I'm seeing, all these opportunities come up. Like the XFL just had a whole bunch of combines.
Yeah.
That I would have loved to be a part of, but.
And then even the USFL, like they just finished their season recently, I think.
They just finished up their season too, and then you got the NFL summer open tryouts and stuff like that. So, but I got my faith in God, and if I was supposed to go to these things, then I would have been there. But so. Yeah. Just got to continue to get back to 100%.
God got a funny way of doing things, man.
He does.
You'll have your heart so set on one thing, and then he'll get you right there and then bring you back just to show you that you could do it.
For sure.
And then you come back better the next time.
I can't tell you how many times I've experienced that through this journey, man. So,
it's like I'm right there.
Correct. Like I can see it, I can taste it, I can touch it.
But it's just not mine yet.
Yeah, it's not mine yet.
So with having that experience, you get so close. You get so close, and then you bounce back. You get close, and then you bounce back. What is it that keeps you going? I know you have this amazing drive and like this mentality, but
for sure.
Is it kind of like this Mamba mentality, for lack of a better word, that just keeps you going?
Oh, I don't know if it's that. I don't think anybody could get to that. But
that is a different level.
For sure. For me, it just goes back to my purpose, man. That's the motivator right there. So, when I'm feeling down and out, that's the one thing I always revert back to, and that kind of gets me going back right again. So, but also it's just having that relentless mentality, just not accepting stuff for what it is. Like, obviously there's stuff out of your control. For example, injuries.
Yeah,
COVID.
Can. The COVID definitely for sure.
Canceling tryouts and stuff like that. So you got to wait another year. But it's just keeping faith and finding whatever motivates you to keep going.
Okay. So now let's thinking long term, thinking future, sure. Right? Where do you see yourself 4 years from now? 4
years from now, I see myself in the league. I've already earned that contract, but it would have been the right opportunity. Also, like I'm not just looking for any opportunity. So I see myself being the professional athlete that I've always visioned myself to be. Doing work in the community, whether it's charity or starting my own foundation. For sure, gotta always get back, without a doubt. I think my biggest thing is God puts you in certain positions to help other people. So if I'm able to do that. Certainly
it's not always about you.
It's definitely
a lot of people get in those positions.
Bigger than me, man.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than you, man.
For sure.
Okay, so we got giving back. We got making it to the league. Let me ask you this, right? So let's say 4 years from now, the Olympics roll around. There's the opportunity to be in the Olympics, or there's a contract on the table, and you got to weigh your options. Which one are you choosing at that moment?
I mean, either way, it's a blessing, man. But
it is a blessing either way.
I got to stick to my gut, which is football. I've never sacrificed or gone as hard for anything like I have when it comes to football.
Yeah.
So that's how I know it's for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I like that answer, man. I saw the little hesitation a little bit. But it's like the Olympics. You feel me? It's different.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what I would do in your situation, but I like that you sticking to what you feel like, what you know
are a
is
great
your
opportunity,
purpose.
Especially on the skeleton side. Like, it's no secret you don't see a lot of minorities in the sport.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't know what it is, and I think that having that person, that African American or minority in it, it encourages other people to try it out.
So let me ask you this. How important is it for you as you continue to go on your own journey to continue to reach back and help others who may be in similar situations that you've gone through to get to that next level?
Super important, man. I think knowledge is that one thing that we should be able to pass down, whether we're still in it or out of it. And being that I didn't really have that makes me even more inclined to do it.
Yeah.
Because who's to say that, I helped this kid avoid, a catastrophe or whatever when it comes to training or nutritional health or even just finding the right agent. So it's very important to me.
It's definitely important, man. Yeah. And it's like access to information is such a huge thing.
For sure.
Because there's so many opportunities that especially people like us miss out on just because we didn't know the information. We didn't know it was available, this program, this scholarship, this event or whatever it may be. So to see that you have an active interest in that, even though you're not where you plan to be yet, you still have it in your mind. Like, I'm going to help. I'm going to make something happen is major, man. So definitely, shout out to you for that.
Hey, appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So one thing I like to ask people, you know, as we start to bring this to a close, is something I ask everybody. So what piece of advice, right? What guidance would you give to a younger you that you wish you knew now?
Got you.
Or you wish you knew then, I should say.
Got you. And all this is going to be basically, you know, just what I've experienced and learned through my journey. First, I would say surround yourself with a support group, whether it's your parents, your friends, somebody that you know you could vent to, talk to, gather advice from, because there's certainly tough decisions that I've had to make, and you know, having that outside perspective definitely helped with those decisions. Yeah. So that's one to start. Two, I know it sounds cliche, but if you have a vision in your heart, follow it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Whether you have the blueprint or not, you kind of figure out things along the way. So don't hesitate to do that one bit. And I would say don't worry about the end destination. That's the other thing I've learned. I've grown so much as, you know, a young man just going through this process, learning stuff about myself that, you know, I've had to make changes of. Yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything, man.
Wouldn't change it for the world.
Nah.
I love that, man.
Nah, not at all.
So where can people find you? Where can people follow your journey? If you want to give out your socials, you don't got to.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I'm sure people would love to follow this journey that you on, man. So
yeah,
where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram only right now. On when it comes to social media platforms, they can find me at ANDYST_FLEUR.
All right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Andy, for coming on the show, man. We appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Always, man. And until next time, this is Daily Dimensions. Peace.